Hey, welcome back to the Hot Slice. This is Pizza Today's podcast, all about the pizza industry. I am your host, Denise Guerrier, executive editor here at Pizza Today. And with me is Josh Cowan, creative director. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Denise, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. The sun is shining, so
The sun is shining.
that is a plus, I think.
I've moved back to my basement, so I have to
you don't
do
know
the
if there's
artificial.
sun.
I don't know anymore. So,
That's funny.
yeah,
Can you believe how close we are to Pizza Expo? I mean, we are in
I really can't.
y'all, we got to tell you, we are in Uber crunch mode for, getting everything ready, making sure the show is tip top. So you guys can have a wonderful show because it's crazy.
Just a little inside baseball. This week, we are putting the final touches on our March issue, the show guide. We're doing, it's all at once. We wedged this little podcast in between all of that to get you guys some good content, and we have a great guest today.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, I had never met Bruno Zacchini. I'm hoping I pronounced that last name right. We didn't get an official word on that, but anyway, owner of Pizza Bruno in Orlando, Florida. I had never I've never met Bruno. I remember when we had his conversation piece in Pizza Today, but he was a wonderful guy to talk to. It was actually one of our longer podcasts, so we had a good time chatting with him.
Yeah, he gets real on a subject that everyone is dealing with right now, and that is labor and pricing, and that's something that I'm sorry to say is not going to go away anytime this year. I mean, it's something that we're all going to have to face, even with your own spending personally and with your business. So from the business standpoint, it's better to see it coming and have solutions in line so that you can, try to work through this time, because prices are not going down anytime soon. It's not going down.
Right. He had to make some tough decisions, and he kind of takes you through that process of what all he was thinking about when making those decisions. So interesting podcast, and let's not mill around, Denise.
No, let's just
one more thing first before we get into the podcast. Look for our Pizza Expo update show coming to you very soon, hosted by myself and Denise. We're going to give you all the good details on Pizza Expo 2022.
Absolutely, it's so much fun. I love doing the countdown show. It's a great time.
Okay, now here's the podcast.
Every pizza you serve makes an impression. Make each one count with Bacio Exceptional Italian Pizza Cheese. With a kiss of buffalo milk, velvety melt, extraordinary stretch, no overbrowning, and superb reheat, Bacio is the unparalleled performer designed to consistently impress. And only Bacio offers the Gold Club Rewards program, which provides monthly cash back and exclusive marketing support. Schedule a demonstration at baciocheese.com/hotslice and discover how Bacio Exceptional Italian Pizza Cheese creates pizzas that impress.
Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide.
So Bruno, let's just jump right in. What's happening with your restaurant right now?
So, like we talked about right before we started this, our big thing right now is labor. We're no longer in the shortage period of labor. We finally have actually an amazing staff. We're trained up, like everybody is capable. It's just now budgeting that labor, because our cost to staff has gone up so much. I mean, I was telling somebody today, our average cook is $16 an hour, and less than 2 years ago it was about 12. So that's huge.
Yeah, that's
huge. So we were trying to do some budgeting based on some numbers that we had, and man, we did these numbers for labor, and it was a skeleton crew. Like there was no way we could possibly staff. So we decided to make a hard choice and bump our prices.
Yeah.
Which we've been lagging, to be honest. I did some cost analysis on some local pizzerias, and we're under most of them. So I was like, well, we can afford to go to be either competitive or a little higher, just based on the product we offer and the experience.
Right. Yeah. Right. I mean,
go ahead, Josh. I was gonna say, how long's it been since you did a price increase? Sorry.
That's what I was going with too. So,
during COVID, we didn't raise any prices. We didn't raise a single price from, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, prior to COVID, in September 2019, we didn't raise the price until I want to say this past summer, and it was like a select couple items. And it wasn't by much. It was $1 here, $1 there, and it really wasn't a lot. And, we just kind of looking at it again, and just that's the only answer we have, because I can't tell everybody, hey, I'm just going to cut your wages down now. Like, and I don't want to either. I want to keep people like coming to work because they're like, yeah, I make a good amount of money working here. And they're not going to be like millionaires working there. I get that, but it's enough for them to show up, want to do their job, and feel good about it. Because I worked in the world in kitchens where I was getting paid $9 an hour, doing a lot of work, but I realized that's probably not the best thing to do, and it's not really rewarding at the end of the day. So I get it, but yeah.
With the new budgeting you're doing, I know you have a small menu already. Was there thoughts of taking anything off the menu, or just for food cost wise or whatnot?
So we talked about this. We've talked about altering the menu, but since we're predominantly pizza, we don't have like a hotline. We don't have a kitchen. We just have, we only had one Pavesi wood-fired oven. Now we have two. One is just for pizza. One is for hot apps and our garlic knots, which we sell a ton of. We talked about it. We talked about limiting our in-house pizzas, and not in a sense of like limiting. We were going to say, hey, we offer these pizzas, and then like 4 special pizzas you can only get in-house. And then to go, we get the full menu and all that. But, after kind of like looking at it, it wasn't really worthwhile for us to limit the menu, because in actuality, it's not a huge menu. And the costs, we run a pretty decent food cost. So I don't know. It's always going to be a prep problem with pizza, because you have to roll pizza dough. And it's a bear when you're doing 1,000+ pizzas a week. That's a lot of pizza dough. That's a lot of time. And we make all of our mozzarella from scratch. We make everything from scratch.
So much prep. Yeah.
Our prep, and we can't.
A lot of labor.
A lot of labor. But the end product is so much more superior. That you can't go backwards. Like that was the question too. It's like, hey, do we just start cutting corners? But our guests would just be like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And then you don't want that.
When there's so many choices out in the world, they can tell real fast if you start cutting corners. Because I know when I'm at my pizzeria that I love, if they start cutting corners, I can tell immediately. So,
we're not the best judge of that though, because we can tell what everyone uses. Like I know who uses what product. I know the exact brand of the product.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You're like spoiled, right? Like I'm the same way. My wife, before she knew me, she didn't really know much. Now she's like super spoiled, and we go out and eat. We know immediately if the pizza's gonna be good or bad. Like don't even have to taste it. We just go, probably not gonna be great. Yeah. It's just what it is,
So I can look at an Instagram pic and now know and just be like,
it's totally true, man.
I don't know. The way that cheese is bubbling, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a lot of caramelization there. What's going on?
Yeah. So you talked about how you did that price increase before, and then you just now are looking at a new price increase. Are you looking where that one was, where you picked select items? This time, are you looking at it across the board, or are you doing a selected items?
We're doing it across the board, because like I said, we're underpriced, and the stuff we use, like for our chopped salad, we use a locally sourced organic mixed greens. It's not like just the stuff out of the bag, and we're undercharging. You know what I mean? Compared to other people, like their mixed green salad is like $11, $12. We're sitting at $9.
Yeah.
And you know, the it's just a different world, you know, of quality. So I don't feel bad about it, to be fair. Like I just don't, because I just know what we do is superior, and I'd rather put that foot forward than worry about, you know, oh, the fallout from the cost. It's like, well,
yeah. And as
know?
a customer, I think I would happily pay a couple more dollars for something rather than lose the quality that I'm going there for, the experience that I'm going there for. So, I mean, you might lose a handful, but yeah, for overall, I think that's the best idea for sure.
Well, I'll put you one further. I did so for an experiment. I actually no, this is just a proof of this experiment would work. Is we have Uber, and they obviously charge a surcharge. They gave us a pretty low rate, 23%, but still 23%. That's a lot. You know, that's a lot in the food business. You know, so we actually bumped our prices on Uber 20%. So end of the day, it's a 3% knock. It's never stopped anybody from ordering Uber, period.
Well, you know, you're getting into a lot of money when you you get delivery, third party delivery. Like as a customer, I'm like, I'm getting a sandwich, but I know it's gonna be $60. You know, so
like that $12 sandwich is now 25 or 30. Yeah, you kind of know that going in a little bit.
Yeah. So I think our Uber prices are reflective of what our actual in-house price.
That's a great test. Yeah.
Now, I know we had some conversations with you through the conversation that we did on you in like 2020. You know, how have things improved with your restaurant now? Now everything's fully open for you, right? Like there's no restrictions on you guys, and you're back up to full capacity. What's the vibe like now? Because I know that, you know, in the conversation we were talking about how much it kind of, you know, was killing your vibe to have to go from a, you know, a Neapolitan style, you know, eat it right now to carry out. So what's that in-house vibe now?
Oh, I mean, we're just busier than ever. It's crazy. It's so crazy how many, our in-house is full on the weekends, like completely full. Plus we have an outdoor patio, which is prime seating now. Before COVID, we had like a couple picnic tables, and then we kind of just went ahead and put this patio out. Long story on that, I still think the city is not happy with me, but hey, you know, the cat's out of the bag. What are you going to do?
It's there now.
It's there now. Just like, so I go to like Philadelphia a lot, and they have all those outdoor seatings, and it's like the cat's out of the bag. Like you can't go backwards, especially places that had 20 seats or so. It's like you just added 50 seats outside plus the 20 inside is like, you know, but you know, Florida's Florida, man. Florida is just full tilt. It's Orlando as a whole has grown so much since the start of the pandemic. We have so many people here. The population growth is out of control. So we're full. Our dining room is full. Our patio is full. Our takeout is has not stopped. We did a whole renovation to actually help that along. And currently we do online ordering, phone ordering, and we do Uber, but only on selected days, Monday through Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we kind of don't, just because it screws up the in-house experience. That was our biggest takeaway on that, was like, it just was another layer that it didn't make sense. So we kind of did away with that, but yeah, Florida's cranking.
Yeah. Is there any confusion with your customers with that? Like them not understanding like when they're able to do that versus when they can't do that, or they kind of all are in the know and know what's happening right now?
I mean, you know, I think people know about that. I just, you know, I make it very clear that like, hey, if Uber's off, it's just off. Like, you know, we don't guarantee. That's in our order of priority. In-house is always going to take supreme. You know, always the guests coming in the door to see us and have that experience is always going to be paramount. You know, and then following that, it's going to be, you know, online and phone, and you know, we'll eliminate those if it needs to be. Like, I don't care. We didn't have a phone for up until the pandemic. We didn't have a phone. Couldn't call the restaurant. Awesome. So
Yeah.
Well, speaking of vibe, like, I've just been looking at photos and everything. It looks like you have an amazing vibe there. So, kind of, how did you plan that out? And like, it kind of take us through. I know you get, like, as far as music and everything goes with the restaurant.
So it's a simple answer. I didn't have a plan and I didn't have money. So, it just kind of created itself. I was literally given a lease at this spot back when, my neighborhood wasn't really popular, or I was really worried about it because I wasn't really familiar with the area. And I come from a different area of Orlando, and I was like, man, no one's going to come over here. It's going to take years to develop a clientele here. And the lease was cheap and they gave it to me, and I was just shocked probably that they gave me the lease. But I started off with the walls blank and just sort of added little bits here and there. Like I was telling her, my mom does art framings for a living, so hence all these wonderful pieces of art that I have framed behind me. I had stuff laying around the garage and just started throwing things up on the wall and just piecing stuff together to flesh it out, because it was literally just white and black, white walls, black trusses that we painted. It was like this old kind of look in there. But as it's gone, we've just kind of added and, fleshed it out, made the space kind of what it is. And that's just for me kind of being like, oh, I like that, or the kids' drawings or whatever, and just kind of made it more unique and an organic space than something really planned out. Because honestly, there was no plan. There was, let's open the doors and make a couple pizzas because I'm out of money. That's the plan.
But I think I read somewhere that you had $700 when it opened, when Pizza Bruno opened. That's
yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's a story in itself right there. Like, to go from there to there. I mean.
It was, I don't know what I was thinking. I look back on it, I go, I guess it was just the, the manifest destiny of it all. It's like, we're going.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to stop us.
Burn all the bridges.
Burn the bridges and keep going. Yeah. So I look back on it now and I was like, I don't think I would have ever done that, but I'm lucky I did it when I did, because I didn't know any better.
That's usually the best case.
What made you want to go into it though? What made you want to go that route and go into pizza and start your own restaurant and like, all right, I may have $700 at the end of this, but I'm going to do it.
Well, I've been in restaurants since I was 13, so I'll be 40 in March. So you do the math on there; it's quite a number of years. Yeah, right? Yeah, I can't believe I'm almost at 40. How'd that happen? So I've been in restaurants my whole life. I worked in fine dining, you name it, I've done it. I've moved to Orlando to go to culinary school, so I did that. The pizza thing. To be honest, I never wanted to open a pizza shop ever. I hated doing pizza. My first job was actually selling slices of pizza on the pizza counter at the Seaside's Original Steakhouse in Seaside Heights, New Jersey. That was my first job, in a summer job, and that's where I fell in love with working in restaurants. I would go up there every summer to my cousin's restaurant, and he would just be like, "Here you go, just do something." And I loved it. It was just always an adventure, and I just so many good memories and times. And I love New Jersey. That's like my second home. So pizza, I never wanted to be involved in, because everything I'd done was always like the cheapest ingredients possible. Okay. And it was never taken seriously. It was just like, either at fine dining restaurants, it was just kind of something extra.
Yeah.
Or the pizza shops that I had worked at, it was just kind of BS, and it wasn't high quality. It wasn't, technique driven or ingredient driven. And so I was like, no, I'm not doing that. But fast forward a number of years later, I was hired as a chef consultant to open a restaurant in New Smyrna Beach called Third Wave Cafe. A friend of mine's parents bought a historic building, and they're like, we're going to open a crepe cafe in the morning and a wine pizza bar at night. And I was like, okay, whatever. I was working, I'd quit this executive chef job, and I was working as a line cook at a fine dining restaurant. And I was doing this during the day, and it was an hour to and from commute every day. And I said, well, I'm going to make this my own. I'm going to figure out how to make really good pizza. And it was a wood-fired oven. And so I looked into how, making Neapolitan pizza and what the differences were. And I just started doing, just learning, really, in trial and error. And I found some great cookbooks. I found the Roberta's cookbook and a couple other ones. And I was like really inspired by what they did. And I was like, oh, I could do this. Like, as far as their creativity on pizza was a different level. This was back in 2012. So a long time ago, as far as in the pizza world anyways. So they were very chefy, and that intrigued me. And I was like, oh, I don't have to just go the normal route. So I did that at Third Wave for a few years. And in that time, I got the bug to open Pizza Bruno, or just a restaurant. I just want to do pizza. I was having a lot of fun, but it was New Smyrna, which was a very tourist driven market. So you can only get away with so much, and the customers aren't consistent and all that. So that's why I was like, man, and I was also commuting 2 hours a day. And so it was just getting a little tiresome. So I started looking for a spot, and I found the space for Pizza Bruno, and there we are. I had that much money, and here we are.
Here we are today.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I see that a lot. People taking risks on like a neighborhood and saying, all right, it's going to develop around me. How long, you said you thought it was going to take a while to develop, and then how long did it actually take once you got in?
Oh, like overnight. Like I was just unaware. I was so unaware because, Orlando's weird. People think Disney. Like, oh, you live in Orlando, it's Disney.
Yeah.
But Orlando is very neighborhood driven. So
spread out. It's pretty spread out, right?
Orlando? Yeah, it's pretty spread out, but there's pockets. Like, I lived in Winter Park for a long, long time. And that's about 15, 20-ish minutes from where I'm at now. So I was very familiar with the Winter Park bubble. That was where I worked and lived, and, had a lot of, but, south of downtown, the DeSoto, now the Curry Ford West area, I didn't really know much of, and I didn't really ever come down here. And like I said, when I came down here, I was like, this is no man's land for me. Like, it's, all there was like a Crystal's, a Dairy Queen, these weird one-off franchises, right? This is an odd place. So I wasn't aware, though, that this part of Orlando is pretty established residential, and has been for a long time. And it's a lot of families, stuff like that. So I opened, and it was pretty immediate. People were like, oh, this is awesome. I don't have to drive to Winter Park or Thornton Park or College, any of these places. I have a great restaurant in my backyard.
Yeah. So the community was already like wanting it, and it just hadn't happened yet. And you just
yes, which was good and bad. Because I was so unprepared, and I had 2 employees or so. It was me and somebody else, I think, and it just was like explosive, and it was just like pieces and all this. It was crazy. So we just built on that, and I've been figuring it out every day since. And we're finally, I feel like, an adult business.
Yeah. I feel like figuring it out is the common theme amongst pizzeria owners. Just we'll figure it out as we go. Got to, right?
And no one ever figures it out, really.
No.
You just keep figuring. You just because probably in 2020 when somebody thought they had it figured out, and then the pandemic happened, and then you don't have it figured out anymore.
No.
All right,
oh no.
So after you get a handle on the labor, what's that thing that's next for you? Like what are you going to dive into next? What's that area that you really are going to, start investigating or, really geeking out on? What's next?
So we're actually trying to open a second location right now. Like I said, we have rabbit hole.
Yes, awesome.
So it's in a different part of town. Actually, people are kind of like, oh, it's saturated with Italian and pizzerias, but I think they're very average, very exactly all those places I said I didn't like working for are there, right? So I'm looking at trying to open another spot there with the emphasis on what we do. It's a little smaller of a space, so it's the emphasis on the wood-fired pizza, but also I actually have a hood and a hotline, so we're going to do a full-fledged pasta program. We're looking into buying an extruder so we can full-time do that, and I think that'll be fun. We'll be able to offer a little bit more as far as like entrees, like a little bit more chef-driven entrees, small plates. We'll have a little bit more freedom because of the kitchen space. Like I said, at Pizza Bruno, we have 2 wood-fired ovens, and we have induction burners in the back that we use tonight. Like Tuesday night, we do a pasta night. I'd love to do it every day, but it's just so many moving parts that it's like, let's just do one day of it, which is fine, which is totally fine for us. But that's what we're looking at doing, is going to a new market, which is about 20 minutes away. And I think we'll do well because there's a lot of people there. My daughter goes to school in that area, and they're like, "Wait, love your restaurant," but it's far,
Yeah.
And this is the kind of place people drive around on their golf carts,
Okay.
through the neighborhood, because it's like that. It
Yeah.
has a main street and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm
Now,
not saying it's done. I'm
is it
sorry.
going to be is it going to be a Pizza Bruno, or is it going to be something, or is it going to be something else completely?
No, it's Pizza Bruno. It's
Yeah.
it's the brand. We're just going to bill it Pizza Bruno X neighborhood.
Yeah.
Pizza Bruno Curry Ford.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, we have the brand. It's as much as the creative in me wants to be like, oh, we're just going to start something new. Kind of can't do that in business sometimes.
You got something that's working right now, so I mean, ride it to all you can. So
yeah, it goes against all my initial like, nah, man, it's gonna be super cool, and it's like jazz band, like jazz, exploratory fun, and it's like, well, no, you have to do what works because it's proven. But not to say I don't have some side projects I want to do and whatnot, but we'll get there, I guess.
Awesome. That's awesome. Something that I always like, especially because we're getting ready for Pizza. Are you coming out to Pizza Expo this year? Are you going to come out?
I was just looking at the dates yesterday.
I don't mean to put you
actually
on the spot on the podcast.
No, I want to. I missed it. I went every year after Pizza Bruno opened. I love it. I love the experience. It's always great to just like, tool around, catch some classes. Some of them were really, helpful early on. There was some of the management stuff, and it really pushed me to get out of that I call it artist mentality, and I have to look at it as a business, and the management side of things, and the stuff that I really wasn't, I'd say, is my strong suit. I really dove into my second year going to the Pizza Expo. I came back with a lot of ideas that upset people, which is fine. You start asking people to do things, and holding people accountable does not go over well sometimes.
Right.
But I miss it. Yeah, I miss going to Vegas. I absolutely love going to Vegas and eating at all the cool restaurants.
Oh, yes.
I think there's so much I love. That would, if I had a choice, I would move to Vegas, actually.
Yeah.
Me and my wife love the desert and stuff like that. So, and there's some really great food off the strip that we really enjoy. So I don't know. I actually have, it's sandwiched in between two trips to New York. So I'm going to New York the week before with my daughter for a spring break trip.
Nice.
She's 9, and she's like been hyped about New York. So I'm going to take her and do like a bunch of touristy things. She's like, oh, can we have real New York pizza? I was like, yes, but I'll take you to good New York pizza, because there's a lot of pizza in New York. Not necessarily all good. So
don't get the 99-cent slice. At least go for a $3 slice. I mean,
we're not going to Sbarro. We're not doing that bit. So I'm taking her, and then I come back, and then I leave the following week for another trip to New York for my 40th birthday. So, which is another food-related good time I'm pretty excited about. So.
Well, Vegas goes well with a 40th birthday as well. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And it's sandwiched in between those. So I'm like debating. I'm like, can I come back, go to Vegas, come back, and then leave again like the following day for New York?
And I'm sure that's a busy season for that's spring break season, I guess, too.
For you guys,
so I'm sure it's a busy moment for you guys as well, right?
Yeah, we're in our busy season. Usually, technically starts middle of December. It's always middle of December. It's not the beginning of December. I always think we're going to close at the beginning of December.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh man, sales are down. But second week of December, it kicks off. We have our catering company goes full tilt with all of our holiday catering.
Yeah.
That is so busy, and it's always last minute. So that starts all the way through about May. May is when we slow down. That's when we have a lot of graduations from our local colleges and stuff and school. So we are super busy all the way through April, especially with our catering. Our offsite catering is just slammed, super slammed through that time.
And has it ramped back up to 100% again? Yeah.
Yeah, it was obviously 2020. We didn't do a lot of bookings, but the tail end, people started booking and getting comfortable. And we've done some large and it's crazy. We've done some parties or weddings that were booked in 2020 that we rescheduled like 3 different times. So it's fun. And it's also kind of like, you look at the pricing from 2020, you're like, you're getting a great deal, but hey, you stuck with us. You didn't cancel, you know, all that. So, but yeah, the bookings are, they're going back up. We're getting, we do a ton of weddings. That's our main thing. anywhere from, 50 people. We have a couple 200 people weddings that we're doing this year. So it's back.
Gotcha.
Catering's back in Florida. People aren't afraid to get together this year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
the
totally.
the reason why I had mentioned Expo is because that time of year is when like people start thinking about like where the industry is going and what we're doing and where is pizza, and that's the one big thing I'd ask you is, where do you see pizza going, and what, with your experience, where are we headed in pizza?
Ooh, that's a big question.
I know.
It's well, it truly is, because there's so
Yeah.
many things. I have to think about it from my angle as
From you.
I always want it to be handmade. I want it to be, that is important. It has to be, handmade. The focus is on quality of, the technique, the ingredient, all of that package is super important to me. But in our times, that's a hard thing to do. Talent is potentially lower, but I always say, that talent can be trained. You could teach people how to do anything, but the cost of all that goes up. So it's going to be tricky. I think there's going to be it's really kind of going to be in two things. I think there's going to be the lower kind of end, which will be more automation, lower costs, et cetera. And there's a huge market for that. We know that. And then there's going to be the higher end, and people are going to be, they're going to be cool with that. Like, I know I would rather pay for pizza of quality, origin and technique and all that stuff, rather than something that's just BS in a box, right?
Right.
Because to be fair, like, eat it and tell me do you feel better after eating this or this? I had the so I'm doing I'm also a part-time consultant. So I'm consulting on a project in a island in the Caribbeans, which is interesting to source products. But they also,
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, they own they own a lot of franchises. One of them is a pizza franchise. I'm not going to name it, but I haven't had it in a long time.
Yeah.
And they're kind of telling me how they make the product and everything. And I'm like, that sounds like it's going to hurt to eat it, because there's no fermentation. It's just kind of like, make the dough, roll it out, make a pizza. And on the way out at the airport, I got a slice, because they were all blown away by the pizza I was making for them. They're like, oh, I ate it. It was so light. And, like it was, it didn't sit heavy. And I was like, I know, it's wild, right?
Yeah.
So I ate a slice of this brand of pizza, and like, I was like, doubled over, like.
Wait, you did it when you're at the airport getting ready to fly?
Yeah, because I didn't have any other opportunity. I was
rookie mistake.
I was also, to be fair, I was starving, and I was a captive audience, right? And I was like, screw it, let me, as a joke, get a slice of this, and it just like, it killed me, man. I was just like, wow.
And how long was this flight? Ouch.
4 hours. So it's just more proof that what I want to do is what I think will a certain a clientele or guest will appreciate. And then there's certain guests that is looking at the cost, and that's totally fair. Like, I've never tried to play the cost game, or I'm never going to be like, I'm just going to be the cheapest out there. Like, that's not fulfilling to me. So pizza, like I said, I think it's going to be probably two distinct categories. I don't know, what would you consider middle ground of that? Like fast casuals, I guess, but even still, the Blazes and the, of the world. But I can't say I've ever eaten at Blaze, so I don't know. But my hope is there's more like, artisan, handmade, technique driven, better ingredient stuff, because it's just so good when it's done right, and it's just such a different world.
I mean, people are going to get pizza once a week mainly,
Yeah.
You want to get good pizza when you're, quality pizza. If you can afford it, you want to get quality pizza when you're doing it, though. So
yeah, I'll always pay for quality. I mean, for me, I'm about a meal that is satisfying, and I'm not just looking for empty calories. I'm looking for, is this going to taste good? Do I feel good about the purchase? I can tell that they're using quality. That is so much more important than just like, I need calories, I'm going to eat this because it's cheap. Like, I just don't work like that. But there's a market. So
Yeah, I worked like that in college a lot. Just
Yeah, it's totally like, yeah, I'm not saying many college people,
or even early 30s actually. So
yeah. I'm not saying like, in college, I would say college kids come eat at my restaurant. I mean, they do. I mean, college kids are spending more money than I ever had in college. Just put it that way. It's wild. So, but then again, it's like, hey, I want to open my slice shop, and then, we'll do the $3 slice or $3.75 slice, which I think is reasonable for a good product. But, yeah, I mean, not many broke college students are coming in to eat, but I don't feel like there is that many broke college students anymore. I don't know why. They're out there just spending money. It's wild.
Yeah,
Super wild.
It is wild. Do you have a timeline on your new spot, or are you just kind of in the preliminary stages and just gonna wait and see?
So it's actually going to be quick because it's an existing restaurant.
Okay.
So, which is really nice, obviously, for many reasons.
For the
and yeah. Oh, dude. Oh man, like our expansion to 700 square feet was a hefty price tag this summer. It was wild actually. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that was that expensive. But if all goes well, 90 days. Wow. And that's 90 days in a week from today.
Oh wow. That's fast.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that would, and the biggest drawback on that is waiting for the oven to be shipped over.
The equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only piece of equipment, because we're actually going to commissary all of our dough out of Pizza Bruno 1. Because we spent all the money this year on the enormous diving arm mixer and a dough baller rounder situation. So it's still time consuming, but the output is just crazy compared to what we worked with for years. So
I like
pretty quick.
Commissaries, I mean, it makes your output so much more productive when you can have it all based out of one spot and be able to maneuver it around if you can store well.
Yeah, I mean, we put in a new walk-in, and it's like, this is already pretty tight spacing wise. But my big thing too is like too many hands in the dough sort of thing. It's like you start getting inconsistencies, and that's when problems arise. So it's easier to keep it under one roof with the team that knows what they're doing, and so they just do what they normally do, and you don't have to worry about the X factors, which are inexperience or stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you're going to have to keep us posted on that, because we want to see what you got with your new spot. So, but we thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and talking to us, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. It was super fun. I'm glad to be on it.
Oh, sweet. All right. We'll see you.
Happy 40th, early 40th.
Yeah, happy early 40th.
Oh, thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
And welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Year.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like it. All right, take care.
See you.
Bye.